What's up, guys? It's your girl Suga Psyched back again with another video. Thanks for tuning in. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sade. I am a psychiatric travel nurse, and I'm currently in school becoming a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. On my channel, I talk about all things related to nursing, lifestyle, and mental health. So if you're interested in any of those topics, feel free to subscribe to my channel. So today's video is going to be an update on how school has been going for me and what's been going on overall. So unfortunately, my graduation did end up getting delayed an entire year. And that was because of clinical placement, ultimately. And the funny thing about that was that with clinicals in my school claimed that they find clinical placement for everyone, and that was the main reason, one of the main reasons why I picked this school in the first place. So, of course, I was expecting for them to find clinical placement for me, but that was wrong. As it kept getting closer and closer to starting clinicals, there was more students that did not have clinical placement yet. About 80% of us didn't have clinical placement. And the 20% that did have clinical placement found it on their own. So they would say, oh, we're working diligently, just be patient. This is only a small cohort. Don't worry about it. We're going to find you guys placement. But you guys should still look on the side just in case. It'll help move the process along faster, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm not putting my faith in them. So I started looking on my own. And at that time, I was on a travel assignment where it was a teaching hospital and there was a lot of really good doctors that I trusted. So I started asking some of them. I was working in the Psych ER at the time. And in the Psych ER, there's a lot of other psychiatrists that work there as well. They're there full time. So I had a lot of contact with them and I got to get to know them a little bit. So one of the doctors that I liked, I asked them, could they be my preceptor? He was known for precepting other students and he worked at a lot of other very well-known hospitals, and he participated in research. So I was really excited and I really wanted to get him as my preceptor. And to my surprise, he actually agreed, signed the paperwork, did everything. So I found my own preceptor, submitted the paperwork to my school of nursing, and waited. Weeks went by, nothing happened, still haven't gotten my placement yet. So all of the students are asking, what's going on? Why don't we have placement? Why aren't you finding us any? We're finding our own, but you guys are still not placing us. Then they come out and they say, okay, so this pandemic has really taken a toll on all of the schools, especially with Psych NP programs. There's just not enough providers for the amount of students that we have to take students as preceptees. And now a lot of these preceptors are wanting to charge and the school won't cover that. And then on top of that, they lost staff. I guess a bunch of people in that department quit, and there was only one lady working in that department trying to find clinical placement for over hundreds of students, and she was overwhelmed and honestly just didn't have enough time to get around to all of us, even the students that submitted their own preceptor paperwork and found our own preceptor, such as myself. So it got down to the wire and they never had time to get around to me, to placing me in my clinical placement, and they ended up having to push back my graduation date an entire year. I was supposed to be graduating right now, spring 2023, but now my new graduation date is going to be spring 2024. So why that happened was because since they didn't get me placed in clinical, they had me join the next cohort for their clinical placement when that staff member had enough time to get around to placing me and doing my paperwork. So the good thing about that was that I got summers off, which normally we just have school year round. Winter, spring, summer, fall, all of it, just school all year. But now with this new cohort that I'm with, I have every summer off, which was a nice break, but then again, it delayed my graduation, so pros and cons. But everything happens for a reason. I truly do believe that. And those breaks have been nice. Now I'm officially in my final year of this NP program, And I will say that this program is very doable. It was really hard for me when I was traveling and working full time. Actually, I was working more than full time. I was working 48 to 60 hours a week and trying to do school and trying to do clinical. That's when it really got hard for me. But honestly, if you're working normal hours and you're doing normal hours in school, it's very doable and you can do it too. I haven't had to get a tutor or anything like that. I've been studying a little bit, not too much. I just usually pay really good attention in class, study the PowerPoints, ask the professor any tips that they may have for the test, and I've been able to pass my classes that way. I'm not putting in an astronomical amount of effort, and I've been passing with all A's and maybe one or two B's. So I hope this inspires somebody out there that may be in my position or may be thinking about going back to school. I want to let you know that it's doable. You can do it. My mom is doing it, and she has kids and working full time as a travel nurse. So if you have the time, do it now, because tomorrow never comes. And the longer you push it off, the less likely it is that it'll actually happen. And the way that this society is going and the way this economy is going, school is getting more and more expensive every year. It's honestly ridiculous, and now it's almost impossible to find a preceptor that doesn't charge. I'm paying about $1,100 a semester for my preceptor, and that's $8 an hour. That's a deal. I know some people that are paying $20 an hour for a preceptor, which is really, really crazy. But they said, especially with Psych NP programs, this is happening because probably 2 to 3 years ago, there was probably about 5 Psych NP programs in California. Now, every single nursing school has a Psych NP program because the demand has been so high and the popularity of this specialty is just increasing every year. So every school has a program now, which kind of oversaturated the student market, and it's kind of overwhelming the preceptors. So now preceptors are not taking students without being compensated for it, which I don't know, that may be a little unethical in certain people's opinions, but what can you do? You gotta do what you gotta do. People are gonna capitalize whatever way they can, and the way California is set up right now and how expensive things are, can I really blame them? No. So moral of the story is, if you want to do it now before it gets too expensive, before the market gets oversaturated. Get it in now before you lose the motivation. Don't wait too long. And if you want to do it, just do it. Don't be afraid. It's not going to be too much work. It's not going to be too hard. You are smart enough. You've been a nurse all this time. And honestly, grad school is way easier than the traditional BSN program. Because when we were in our regular BSN programs, it's like you're learning a whole new language. You're learning everything. Now that we've already learned that and we've had experience in the field, this is more so like a refresher. And most of the stuff I feel like I've already known. They're just adding a little bit of extra sprinkles on top. So you definitely can do it. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in this one. See you in my next one. Bye.